Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arouse Podcast. Today, we are talking about potentially the greatest piece of relationship advice ever. This actually comes from Jordan Peterson. This is where I came across him on YouTube. I was watching one of the videos of him talking in a seminar with some students. This one point that he made, it really stuck out at me. We're going to find out if this is really the best piece of relationship advice. So are you ready? Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Jordan Peterson says, when you're in the damn relationship, tell the person the truth and try to figure out what the truth is for you. And don't put up with any nonsense, and stand up for yourself. And also, aim towards the good. If you do all those things, then your relationship is probably going to work. If you're trying to do all those things, really, and you have a partner that will not do that, then leave. That's what Jordan Peterson had to give as, this best piece of relationship advice. And as a life coach, as a relationship expert, I do agree with him. Relationships are not a one-way street where one person is doing all the work. It's a two-way street. If two people want to work together in a relationship and put all this love into their relationship and really work at it together, yes, your relationship probably will work, just like he says. But if you're the only person willing to try and make it work or to work on your relationship and the other person doesn't give a shit, they don't want to put in the work, or, they're comfortable and they like the way that things are because they don't have to do anything. No, I don't believe that you should stay in a place like that. I've been there. So I can attest to this, where I was trying to put in all this effort and, saying how my relationship was so great on the outside to everyone, when on the inside it was really struggling. When you're the only person trying to do all the work, trying to put on the effort to make your relationship work, and the other person doesn't care, or whatever it is, they're just not putting in the work, it's not going to work and you're going to run yourself dry. So I'm going to tell you a quick story here with one of my relationships that I did a lot of work. I would drive out to see him every weekend. It was, a 2.5 hour drive each way. And when I was there, I'm a very sexual person. I have a very high sex drive. I wanted to have sex a lot. Not that that's the only important thing in a relationship. One of my top love languages is physical touch. And he wasn't a super touchy-feely person. He wasn't willing to learn my love language and put in the effort to make me feel love. In a lot of other areas, I would go above and beyond to do everything for him. And then in the same respect, when I would ask for a simple 10-minute foot rub, I would get nothing but attitude and complaints about it, that I was asking for too much. And it's tough because you think your relationship is working, you're putting in all this effort, you're putting in all this love, and you're like, the relationship's working, he loves me so much, when his actions actually don't show that. And his efforts are very, very minimal, because for my partner, he was very comfortable in the relationship. He had already won me over. He didn't have to win over my heart anymore because he had gotten me, and he thought that that was good. Things could continue the way that they were, where I was very, very unhappy. And there were multiple conversations I'd had with him that it's like, hey, you know what? Like, I would really love, for us to work together as a team and put an effort together in our relationship, not trying to place any blame, because when you place blame and it's like, oh, you're not doing this, there's a lot of hostility that can come with that. And you're probably going to make the situation worse, attacking them and, making them the bad guy and placing this blame, when it's not about that. It's more about like, hey, like, let's work as a team. Let's both do things for each other that we both love. And he just wasn't willing to do that for me. He was very concerned about his needs, taking, everything I did for granted, which eventually I did leave. I had the courage to finally leave that relationship when I just realized that, hey, he's not willing to put in the effort. I'm doing everything. I'm going above and beyond for this person, and they don't want to do very minimum work that I have asked them to, which wasn't asking a lot. But for him, it was asking too much out of him because he wanted to take all the advantage. And so therefore, Jordan Peterson said that like, if your partner isn't willing to put in the work that, you are, then leave. And that's exactly what I did. I've had to do this in multiple different relationships where I went above and beyond for my partner. They didn't want to put in the same effort because they love getting treated like a king. They loved it, but they treated me in return as a peasant, that I didn't deserve the same love on their level. They didn't want to give that to me. I do agree 100% with Jordan Peterson that you want to put on all the work. You want to do all these things, focus on the good, tell them the truth. Don't put up with any nonsense. Stand up for yourself. Your partner doesn't want to do those things as well in the relationship, then no, you shouldn't stick around. This is a point where you have to make that decision. Like, is this happening in your relationship? If it's not, then great. And you guys are working as a team and you're not being taken for granted. If you are in this situation where you're doing all the work, you're going above and beyond for your partner, and they don't want to do the minimum work in return for you, they're not willing to put in the work in your relationship, then it is time to leave. Because you don't deserve that. You deserve someone that is going to make you a priority in their life. If you're not a priority in their life currently, then you're going to struggle. You're going to feel taken advantage of, bulldozed, taken for granted. All these things, like underappreciated. I could go on and on and on about all the feelings that you may be feeling right now because you're putting in all this effort and you're not getting anything in return from your partner. You're getting no return on investment, no ROI on your own partner in your relationship. And that's not fair, because when you put in work in a relationship, you should get equal back, if not tenfold, from your partner. Because, for example, when I was with Logan, he did one thing for me, and in return I was like, oh my gosh, like, I appreciate you so much, that was so great, and because you did that, because it made me feel so loved, I want to go above and beyond in return for you. So I gave him something tenfold and back because of the way that he did something for me. And that's exactly how it should be in relationships. It's all about giving and taking. If you give and give and give and your partner's taking everything, listen to Jordan Peterson when he says, if your partner's not willing to do this, then leave. It's your time to leave. You don't deserve that. You deserve better. You deserve someone who loves and accepts you for everything you are, makes you a priority in their life, and continues to put in the work because it's important to them and you are important to them as well. So I hope this episode was helpful to you. Shine the light on your relationship, whether this is something you're struggling with right now, or it's just a reminder that maybe you need to have a conversation with your partner right now about continuing to put in equal work into the relationship and into each other. So for today's homework, I really encourage you to look at your relationship and notice, hey, have I been putting in all the work or going above and beyond for my partner and they give me nothing in return after how many conversations of me telling them? Or maybe, you have been going above and beyond, but you haven't had any conversations with them yet. Maybe it's time for that conversation. And you need to talk to them and be like, hey, not placing any blame. Don't even mention that. I would really love for us to work as a team in our relationship and how we can make it better, blah, 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 blah. Or maybe your relationship is working great and you guys work as a team. Yay! But this is a time to really reflect, and that's what your homework is all about. So reflect on your relationship, and maybe there's a change that needs to be made. Maybe you need to have another conversation, or maybe it's just time to leave. So I hope this episode has been very helpful to you. I love you so much, and I will see you next time.